Hello and welcome to the 2021 IHSA Bass Fishing Pre-Tournament Organizational Meeting. My name is Kurt Gibson. I serve the association as the Associate Executive Director, and I want to welcome and congratulate everyone on qualifying for this year's state finals. It's going to be our biggest field ever. There will be 75 boats plus two other boats in our unified division for a total of 77 boats this weekend at Carlisle Lake, and we're very excited about the upcoming weekend. At this time, I would like to introduce Doug Wasmuth. Doug's with the Army Corps of Engineers and works out of Carlisle Lake. Doug's very instrumental, he and his team, with running the state finals. And so, Doug, first of all, welcome and thanks for being with us tonight.
Yep, thank you, Kurt. My pleasure. Anxious to get going.
We all are. So in our meeting today, we'll have a few slides that just sort of talk about the tournament and some operations that go around with the weekend. And then Doug will walk us through a series of a safety presentation, if you will, regarding the lake and how the tournament will be conducted. So with that, Doug and I are going to go away here and we're going to share our screen and walk ourselves through our presentation tonight. So we do want to take an opportunity to thank everyone associated with helping put on a state finals tournament. We want to thank the city of Carlisle for their support over the last 12, 13 years. Without their support and without the support of the community, we simply wouldn't be able to put on the quality event that we've been fortunate to be able to do. We want to make sure we thank the Corps of Engineers for all their work, and certainly, as I mentioned, Doug will be representing them later in this presentation. We want to thank the Illinois Department of Natural Resources for all their help, particularly with the sectional tournaments and getting the necessary permits and having staff on site to help with boat checks and other tournament-related activity. They'll also have a presence this weekend at Carlisle Lake, and we're thankful for their support of this program. And then we want to make sure we thank our friends from FLW and Major League Fishing for their support of the event. FLW has really made the tournament really a first-class affair for a number of years, and we appreciate their support. And we appreciate their support this weekend as they help us for the first time stream our weigh-ins live. So let's run through a few things as it relates to the schedule of events for this weekend. As a reminder, boat checks, the tournament will be, the tournament proper will be held on Friday and Saturday, May 21st and 22nd. Check-in will begin at 6 a.m. each day at Dam West. All launch and returns for the state tournament occur at Dam West. And you're going to see some pictures later in Doug's safety presentation about the traffic flow in and out of Dam West. We do plan to begin releasing boats at 7, and that assumes we can get all the boats in the water on time. We typically don't have an issue with that. So the plan is we'll begin the tournament at 7, but boats need to be returning to the docks at Dam West for weigh-ins beginning at 3 o'clock. And of course, boats will return by flight. And we're going to see in a second, if you haven't already noticed what your boat number is and what your return times are, how you can do that. The weigh-in for day one will be done in a walk-up fashion. So as boats come in, they'll be able to come through by the stage and have their fish weighed in for the day. You can see then on Saturday, again, check-in will begin at 6 in the morning with the plans are releasing the boats to the water at 7. We'll return to the docks for weigh-in again, beginning around 3 o'clock. Now on day 2, one thing that's a little different is we try to have the top 10 boats from day 1 hang back in the water at Dam West, and then they'll come back and they'll be the final 10 boats that are weighed in on Tuesday. We'll start at 10th place from day 1, then do 9th place all the way down to this the team that was ahead at the end of day one will have their day two fish, their day two bag weighed last. And then approximately 4:15, awards will begin right there at the stage area at Dam West. Now on Thursday, this coming Thursday, May 20th, there will be a pre-fish opportunity for schools interested in participating in that. Boats will be checked prior to getting into the water. Again, we'll have tournament staff on site to conduct those, and the boats will be checked from 7 to 10 a.m. at Dam West. Again, all of this will occur at Dam West. Boats won't be able to get into the parking lot or the dock area before 7. We're very efficient in terms of getting folks through there. When you come in on Thursday, for those boats that will be coming in, we'll also be giving you a packet of information. And included in that information is another boat release order, safety information, but also 2 decals to represent your boat number. These decals need to be placed on your boat motor up high in a very visible location before you go out on the water on Thursday. In past years, tournament staff has put those boat number decals on the boat motors. This year, we're going to ask schools to do it themselves. Then there will also be a chance to have boats checked Thursday evening, 5:30 to 6:30 p.m. at the parking lot of Carlisle High School. Carlisle High School is just down the road from your entrance into Carlisle Lake, so you really can't miss it. But any boat not checked on Thursday will be checked on Friday before it goes in the water. So even if you don't come down on Thursday and get your boat checked, we'll get it checked before the tournament begins on Friday. Now, one thing that's new that we want to make mention of is that schools are restricted to putting in the water for pre-fish day the same number of boats that they qualified. Most schools, with the exception of 2 schools, only 2 schools qualified 2 boats. So if your school qualified 1 boat for the state finals, you can only put 1 boat in the water for pre-fish. So you'll have to figure out how you allow your anglers to sub in and out during the day on Thursday. So there's no need to bring any other boats to Dam West and have them checked or whatever on Thursday. Just the boat that you're going to put in the water for the tournament beginning on Friday. Continuing to talk a little bit about boat release. There was a random draw done on May 12th, and the boats were numbered in numerical order 1 to 75. And on both Thursday, I should say on Friday, the boats will be released numerically from 1 to 75. And then on Saturday, the boats will be sent out in reverse order from 75 down to 1. Depending on your release time on a given day, that'll determine when your return time is. It'll either be 3, 3:15, or 3:30, as you see here on the slide. Because if you're in one of the first 25 boats that goes out, you got to come back at 3 o'clock. If you're in the next group of 25 that goes out either day, you got to be back at 3:15. And if you're in the last group of 25 boats that goes out either day, then you need to be back by 3:30. And we'll have a boat out there at the Dam West area that you've got to be past in order to be on time. If you're not by the return boat by your prescribed time, then you'll have a penalty assessed to your weigh-in on that given day. So make sure you know when to be back and be back by that time. I will mention on each day of the tournament, we do have 2 boats in our unified competition, which is a competition put on in partnership between IHSA and Special Olympics. The 2 unified boats will always go out last on both days of the tournament. They'll have high boat numbers. I think this year their boat number is 80 and 81, but they will always go out last on each day of the tournament, and they will always be back by 3 o'clock on Friday and Saturday. Again, one more time, in case you have not seen the release order, if you go to the IHSA's Bass Fishing page, see on the left side of the screen here. And then scroll to the bottom. In the middle column, there's a heading entitled Resources. And the very last link under Resources, like you see here on the right side of this slide, is the boat release order. So if you haven't checked that out, want to, you now know how you can find it. Let's talk for a minute about alternates and weigh-ins. So for those schools that have more than 2 anglers on their boat roster, if you're going to sub out during the day, you'll do that, make those substitutions or exchanges at Dam West. We'd ask that you call the tournament manager, that'd be me, Kurt Gibson. Before you make that change, we'll make sure that we have tournament staff down at the docks at Dam West to make sure that that goes smoothly. But you'll want to do that. Weigh-ins, you don't, and if you have more, you can't make any substitutions to your boat roster. It's totally up to you if you want to make substitutions during the day. But if you do, they have to be done at Dam West. Weigh-ins, as I mentioned, the first day, the weigh-ins will be just a walk-up weigh-in. We are going to have a limit of 2 students on stage day 1. And as coach, you can choose who those 2 are if you have more than 2 to choose from. We're going to ask that the anglers are masked, and we'll be asking them to maintain an appropriate social distance from the MC, from FLW during that time. Then on day 2, as I mentioned, it'll also be walk up for everybody else except the top 10. The top 10 schools for day 1, top 10 boats, I should say, for day 1 will be the last 10 boats weighed in on day 2. And on day 2, if the entire team roster and the head coach want to come on stage, that's fine. Again, we'd ask that they be masked, and we'll do our best to maintain a social distance from the MC. We should be able to do that even with 4 or 5 people on stage in addition to the MC. And we'll try to have the unified boats weigh in first each day. They're in usually first, so we'll just play that by ear, but they'll certainly be in the first sequence of schools that are weighing in. Just want to talk a little bit about some tournament operations. Hopefully you're aware that the terms and conditions will govern the competition. Copies are available and have been available on our website, which is IHSA.org. If you go back to that resources area that I showed you a moment ago, you'll see a copy of those there. We've talked about all boats will launch and return at Dam West unless severe weather forces tournament management to identify an alternate location for leaving the lake. If we have really severe weather and we decide that there's a point out, deeper in the lake where we're going to let boats exit, we will communicate that. If we don't communicate that, then all boats have to return to Dam West. The way we communicate with boats while they're on the water is through a phone relay system, very similar to what schools use when they maybe are going to cancel school for a day. That's why we've been collecting the phone numbers of coaches and boat captains over the last week. And if we have to clear the water, we will send a phone message to those numbers saying you have to evacuate the lake and report to one of the safety zones that we've determined, and Doug's going to cover those here shortly. When you get those messages, and there's another sheet that explains all this in the package you're going to get on Thursday, you need to report to those areas immediately and take shelter. You don't need to call back to the number that you received the phone relay message from. Just do what it says and you'll be okay. The one thing I would point out is, and always just be aware of this, is that sometimes in this kind of a setting, tournament management will have to decide sometime in advance if severe weather is approaching. So it may seem like it's nice out at a given moment when you get a message that says, hey, the lake needs to be clear. We know severe weather is approaching. With 77 boats to account for, we sometimes have to make an early call and be a little conservative. So just, while we try to encourage you to, not spend time on your phone and social media, you just want to pay attention to things every so often to make sure there's nothing that's creeping up that might need your attention. I mentioned a minute ago, you make sure for your return time that you're past the return boat, because if not, then the terms and conditions would indicate there's a 1 pound deduction for every minute a boat is late, up to 15 minutes. After 15 minutes of being late, there's no weight that your boat will be able to weigh in for that day. Life jackets must be worn at all times, and life jackets must be Coast Guard approved. That's really the key. That they are Coast Guard approved life jackets. A lot of times people ask if this brand or that brand is acceptable, and the answer is always, if it's Coast Guard approved, it's okay to wear. So if you have questions, you can ask tournament staff on site. There should be an indicator on the life jacket if it's Coast Guard approved or not. But you can ask that question, like I said, during boat checks or at Carlisle Lake. A reminder that coaches and captains are not allowed to fish in any respect, with the exception of one angler boats. If there's a boat that just has one angler in it and the angler asks a coach or captain to net a fish, that's when a coach or captain could be involved with fishing or touching any kind of equipment. Other than that, coaches and captains are hands off. And the speed limit for the tournament will be 35 miles per hour. We've been fortunate over the years that folks haven't abused that, so we would hope that that would continue this year. Before we begin the safety presentation, a couple last reminders on a few important things. The tournament's going to run as smoothly as we all work together, and I would encourage all the adults who are involved this weekend to remember that this is a tournament for the youngsters, it's for the students, and it's extremely critical that we set the right example for them. You can see all the kinds of things that we've talked to the tournament participants about in years past, about using appropriate fishing etiquette, not acting in an unsporting manner, being courteous to your fellow competitors, not using tobacco, e-cigarettes, alcohol, any kind of indecent or profane language. We do encourage you to stay off phones and try to avoid social media during the tournament. And then we would ask if there's going to be any protest of anything that you've seen in our terms and conditions, that protest needs to be done in writing. We'll have forms available down at Dam West, but the protest must be made in writing and turned in to tournament staff prior to the end of weigh-ins on the day in question. So if something happens on Friday, you would have to make that protest in writing by the end of the day Friday, by the end of weigh-ins on Friday, and have that turned into tournament staff. The tournament rules committee would then convene and decide what, if any, action needs to be taken. And finally, a couple reminders on the tournament and COVID-19. We certainly recognize that the state of Illinois has moved into this bridge phase. And while that may, in public settings and spaces, mean a loosening of some restrictions, there are still some expectations for this weekend's event. And if things were to change as it relates to COVID, we'll communicate that as we get to the tournament on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. But as of this time, masks must be worn by anglers, coaches, captains, tournament staff, whenever 6 feet of social distance can't be maintained. So that means if you're on your boat and you've got a room where you can spread out, then your anglers they won't have to be masked up. But certainly we envision a lot of times as the boats are going out and coming in on during the day, when people are sitting side by side, for example, folks are going to be masked up. Again, adults, we need you to set the right tone on this and establish the right expectation in your boat and with your team. We're going to ask that you do your best to stay separated boat and team-wise, from one another by at least 10 feet while on land. We're going to identify some spaces that are going to be for, especially for launch, for teams. We're going to have a space for, for anglers and coaches, but those areas are going to be free from other spectators. There will be some limited space for spectators, but there are also going to be some off-limit areas. And so you just need to know that coming in. We need you to try to maintain space between teams or not teammates, but if you're a coach and a substitute angler from your school wanting to come down to Dam West and watch the launch, we're going to ask you to try to keep a distance from other competitors and other coaches. We've already mentioned about how the participation will occur for weigh-ins each day. And then awards, we're going to have an award ceremony that'll be primarily no contact on Saturday. We'll call the schools up who are receiving awards. They'll be able to sort of claim them, probably ask the coach to drape his anglers or her anglers, whatever the case might be. And then we'll take some nice photographs. We will have an area for people, for the anglers to meet with the media if the media wants to meet with them. That'll again sort of be in a spaced out kind of fashion. But we really, COVID is still here, and we're still following the guidance and the mitigations we've put out during the year. So with that, I'm going to have Doug go ahead and come back on here and talk a little bit now about the safety side of things for this weekend's state tournament. So Doug, welcome back, and you can let me know when you want me to advance particular slides.
Okay, Kurt, can you hear me okay? We good?
Yes, I can hear you fine.
Okay. Okay, so we want to welcome everyone to Carlisle Lake. Obviously the IHSA Bass Fishing Finals going to kick off this weekend, and we're excited to have everyone here. My name is Doug Wasmuth. I'm a natural resource specialist with the Corps of Engineers here at Carlisle Lake. Been involved in this event since inception. So, we missed everyone last year, and we're really looking forward to getting everybody back down here and having a good time this year for sure. So, okay, go ahead. Okay, so the current lake conditions, and when today is May 17th, so things could change a little depending upon precipitation and stuff on this. But you can go on the Carlisle Lake website, St. Louis District Army Corps of Engineers website, and there's a real easy website to follow that you can keep up with the conditions. Also, at the end of this, I'm going to have a phone number that if you have any questions between now and the tournament time, you can call me up, and I'd be more than happy to let you know what I know about the lake conditions. But right now we're sitting at a pool level of 445.01, which is summer pool, right where it's supposed to be. Discharge rate's only 70. Inflow rate is 610. I do look for that to maybe come up a little bit with some heavier rains up north yesterday. But as of right now, not a lot of change there. We did have a trace of precipitation here in the last 24 hours. We kind of dodged the big rains that were up north. So we didn't have a lot of rain here. Surface temperature currently is around 68 degrees. Okay, next. So Carlisle Lake, to any of the participants that have not been here, I kind of looked at the sheet, and I see a lot of familiar names that have been here before, but I see a lot of new names, a lot of new schools, coaches, student athletes. Carlisle Lake is the largest man-made lake in the state of Illinois. At Normal Pool, which where we're at, it covers about 26,000 acres of water. So it's a large body of water. It is kind of in two sections, as we like to say. The south section, which would be south of the railroad trestle that runs from Keysport to Boulder, and then the northern part up on the north side of the tracks where the water is relatively shallower, a lot more submerged stumps and hazards up there. So if you've never been here before, we'll have maps like this available the morning of the boat safety checks. So if anybody wants a map, be more than happy, just ask. We will give you one, kind of give you some areas as far as point markers, lake reference, any questions that you have, you feel free to ask us. Okay, go ahead. So the weather forecast as of right now for Friday and Saturday, the Friday actually May 21st and Saturday May 22nd, the weather forecast is shaping up pretty nice. There's a slight chance of showers, but for the most part, we're looking at highs in the mid 80s and lows in the mid 60s. Winds on both days are going to be south-southwest, around 5 to 10 mile an hour. So if this weather forecast holds up, we should be looking at a really good tournament. Next. So in case we do have inclement weather and the participants, if you get the call or the text message from IHSA, from Kurt, we have designated 5 safety zones or 5 safe harbors where participants need to go in order to clear the lake and, go to these areas until the weather has cleared up and you get the all clear sign. And on that map I was talking about, it shows the point numbers. So this can also be used in reference to these safe harbors or safety zones. I'm going to run through and then I'll show you a map of each area, kind of explain where you need to go if you get in there. The Carlisle Sailing Association, it is a point 2. A lot of times people call it the sailboat harbor. That's the common known name. Tradewinds Marina is up at Keysport at point number 7. The Boulder Marina at point 14, which is directly across the lake from Keysport. Coles Creek Boat Ramp Beach area at point 16, and the Dam West Marina, which is right around the corner from where we will be launching at West Access Boat Ramp. Next. Okay, the safe harbor safety zone at Dam West Marina is, as I said, if you come off, when we launch the boats at Dam West, if you go to the north or to the left, right around the point, that's basically the Dam West Marina Harbor Cove. And there's a red X on the map here where the office is. If you're called into safe harbor, you need to go into the marina, tie up to any empty dock. This is going to hold true on any of these marinas we go to. If we have to clear the lake, go to any dock that is not occupied by a boat. There's plenty of empty spaces in there. Just tie up, hop off the boat. At Dam West Marina, we're going to go up to the office. They have a couple levels in there where you can get into safety, get out of the rain if they call clear the lake. Next. The second area is the Carlisle Sailing Association, or the Sailboat Harbor. It's a point 2. There's a series of long docks that reach out into the harbor. If you have to take safe harbor here, you need to tie up to the docks anywhere you can. If there's a sailboat there, show courtesy, tie up on the other side. And then up on the top of the parking lot, they have a big clubhouse or a harbor area, a harbor office where you can go to. Just go up there. There's plenty of places to go. And each one of these safe harbor areas, they know that if there's inclement weather, that there's going to be people coming there. So, and also, thing I guess I should mention as well is there will be a representative from IHSA at each one of these areas with a checklist to take your boat number. So that way we can account for every boat that's on the water. Next. Okay, Tradewinds Marina or Keysport Marina. It's located up on the northwest side by point number 7. So at the Keysport Marina, there's several empty docks. There's actually covered docks in the North Cove. There are open docks on the southern harbor. In the past years, we've urged you to tie up under the covered docks. However, this year they have about 100% capacity in the covered docks. So you're going to have to, if you have to take safe harbor here, find an empty slip, tie up. Once again, always, be courteous to any of the folks that have a boat docked in the harbor. But there's plenty of places to tie up. And then there's ramps that lead up to the main office as well. You can stay there until you get the all clear sign. Next. Boulder Marina, point 14. This is a pretty popular fishing area for folks. Any empty slips, you can tie up. Always, once again, use courtesy. There's a ramp that leads up to the main office. The folks there, if you would have to take safe harbor, they know you will be there. Just tie up at any of these empty slips. Big office area for you to sit in, until the all clear sign is given. Next. And the final area is Coles Creek. So the Coles Creek area it's at point 16. Coles Creek there is no marina or harbor there. However, what we do have there is a beach area with a concrete shower building. So if you're in this area fishing, you have to clear the lake. You can park anywhere up on that sandy portion of the beach. Plenty of places to park there. And then the sidewalk on the northwest side of the beach leads to the shower building. There'll be someone there, like I said, take your number, and then you go take shelter in the concrete shower building until you get the all clear. Next. Okay, there are just a few off limits for the tournament. Obviously, if you're fishing around any of the fuel pumps and fuel docks in the marinas, we don't want them. They're marked. That'd be at Boulder, that'd be at Keysport, that'd be at Dam West. All those areas are marked well. Use some courtesy there. Stay away from the docks. Beyond the main dam buoy line, that's pretty self-explanatory. And then there's a map coming up on the next slide. Inside the breakwater at the Dam West boat ramp area. Go ahead, next slide. So here's a pretty good map of the off-limit area. So, in the past, this has been fishable waters, but with all the traffic, with the boats going in and out, I think last 2 years ago at the tournament, this was the first time we made this off limits, with subs transitioning in and out. It just made it less congested, a little better for everyone that's trying to sub out, and get new fishermen in the water. But basically the line stretches from the tip of the new breakwater to the north side of the high water ramp. You can see the line on the map. It's a red line across there. Just gives everyone more room to sub in and out, less congestion. So, any questions, we can answer them obviously on Thursday morning. Next.
Doug, I just want to add one thing. This is a really good slide. It gives people a good view, especially our first timers, of the launch and return area. And if you look down by the area that's sort of designated as a no fishing zone. You'll see a grassy area with a bird feeder or birdhouse, I should say, a tree. That area is also a popular area for people to congregate, but during the tournament, that area is going to be the area I was alluding to earlier for coaches who may not be on the water or extra anglers. You'll eventually be able to make your way down to like the dock line or the docks themselves to make your substitutions. But this is an area where people would like to congregate, but that's going to be an area reserved for participants. If people uh, end up at the event, the breaker wall is a good place to walk out to watch the action. You could also go, as you look at this picture on the left side, out towards that point for the Dam West Marina. Be another good place to watch people fish. But just wanted to point out for the first timers where that area that's designated for themselves and extra anglers will be this year.
And we will have signage as well up in the area to mark that. But yes, that's a great point. And then also, just you can kind of see it as well on this map. There is a wall, a retaining wall where you can pull your boat up. And obviously in this picture, it's underwater a little bit, but it is not, it will be dry for the tournament. So folks will be able to pull right up to that wall, tie your boat up, get your subs in and out. Should be a pretty easy process. Okay, next slide. And as Kurt said earlier, safety is obviously our #1 priority. We've had a lot of tournaments here, a lot of boats. Everybody has been safe. It's been a great event in the past, but we want to make sure that first and foremost everybody is safe. And the 35-mile-an-hour speed limit is that definitely the rule. Everybody's really done a great job with that. Always wear your life jacket at all times. That goes for the participants, for the coaches, the captains. Always have that life jacket on. Coaches, you're running the big motor, have your kill switch cord hooked up to your life jacket as well. There are a lot of areas on Carlisle Lake, no wake areas. Some of them are pretty big. Some of them are pretty long. Some of these coves stretch way back in there. And, we have these areas marked as no wake zones for a reason, safety. And we ask that you obey all these zones. A lot of submerged timber in some of these areas. Pep and Horse Branch, Coles Creek, Allen Branch in the back. There's tons of submerged hazards back there, and we want you to definitely obey the zones. Everything should be out. So if you have any questions, we can discuss that with you on Thursday at the boat checks. But always be aware of these no wake zones. Courteous to other boats and dock owners. There'd probably be a lot, if it's in the 80s, there'd be a lot of other boats out on the lake. Always be courteous to that. All of these marinas have a lot of sailboats that come out, a lot of pleasure boaters come out. Always, be courteous to these other boaters as well. If you're fishing in any of the private owned docks, there's docks in Pep and Horse Branch, 2 sets of docks there, Harbor Light Bay. You can fish these docks, but just be courteous to the owners. A lot of people like to fish off them as well. So give them space. And then, like I said earlier, if you go north of the tracks, it's definitely not off limits, but if you go up there, please be careful, especially if you're not familiar with the lake. We want you to use caution in all areas up that way. Okay, next. So the boat safety checks Thursday, or Thursday night, Thursday morning, or Friday morning, I guess, whenever you decide to do it. We would like to get as many of them accomplished on Thursday as possible. Makes the flow a lot smoother on Friday morning, get everybody in the water and fishing, a lot quicker. So each boat must be checked before you can participate in the event. I think you get a safety checklist in your packet. Make sure you have that all filled out. Names, schools, phone numbers. If there are more than one school on that you're participating or teams from your school, make sure you say, team 1 or team 2. And then only the boats that are captained by a school approved individual like the coach, the boat driver will be checked. We won't be doing any other alternate boat checks, until in case a boat would break down, then we would check it for an alternate boat. But on Thursday, we will do one boat and that's it. And then another thing too is when you get in line, this goes Thursday, Friday, Saturday, get in the line, have your boat ready to go, have your boat cover off, transom saver off, boat tie downs off. And the most important one is make sure your plug is in the boat. Always double check that before, launching your boat. Make sure you have your fishermen in the boat. We want to get these boats in and out as quickly as we can. One thing's not on here, but always every year we have to do. If you need someone to back your boat into the lake, there is always someone there to assist. There's several people that'll be around that can help do that. And then once again, everybody on board must be wearing a life jacket before we'll let you put in the water. Okay, next. So one of the big things one of the areas that we have had some issues with in the past are in the mornings when everyone gets there to line up. We've had some issues with road blockage and stuff, and we've done pretty well the last couple of years to prevent this. Majority of the boats will be coming in from the north by the McDonald's area, by the resort area. We want to make sure, and there will be people up here to direct traffic. I will have guys up there before 5:30 each morning. We want to make sure all boats line up as these arrows indicate. We want to come in from the south or from the administration office side. If you're coming from McDonald's, if you're coming down the road, what you need to do is you need to just keep driving on past the entrance, go down in our administration office on the bottom of this picture. There's the circle drive. You can go in that drive, you can turn around, and we want you to come from the south to the north, pointing, pull off to the side of the road. There's a bunch of parking areas there. Shouldn't be anybody really parked there early in the morning. We want to try and keep that flow steady because we definitely don't want any traffic back up on the main road. We want to just keep it flowing. There'll be plenty of people there to guide, but that's one thing we want to make sure is a steady flow of traffic. And also, you're going to have your empty trailers coming back out to park in the overflow lot. So, everybody will get in the water. We've been really good at doing this in the past. Just be patient, take your time, and listen to the folks that are directing the traffic. We'll get you where you need to be. Next. Okay, so now that's basically all the safety stuff. Like I said, if anybody wants or has any questions, I'll be at the safety checks Thursday morning. I'll be there every day, bright and early. So, feel free to ask me, any of my guys, any questions. If you have any questions prior to, you can call me at this number, 618-594-2484. My extension is 119. That's 119. You can call me. I'm here basically from 7 to 4:30 every day. Also, you can get online, Carlisle Lake. There's the websites. You can get on Facebook, find any information that you need. Next, I think that might be it.
I think it is, Doug. So thank you for taking us through that. We appreciate it. The tournament runs smoothly because it's a safe event. And we thank the Corps and all the tournament staff and the volunteers who help us in that regard. So again, we want to thank everybody for being with us this evening for this safety meeting. I'm going to hang around for a little while now and take any individual questions that you might have. I would also encourage you, if after watching this, if you have questions, you can always talk to your school administrator and have them reach out to me. We think one of the advantages of conducting our meeting on Monday of tournament week is it'll give folks time to think about questions that that maybe otherwise you wouldn't think about. We want the weekend to be a great one for everybody. We're looking forward to it, like Doug said. We're excited to be back and having high school students fishing again. We're excited that we're going to be able to conduct this kind of an event after what these past 15 months have done to society as a whole. So we hope you all have safe travels down to Carlisle, and we look forward to seeing everybody at the very least on Friday morning when we kick off the 2021 IHSA Bass Fishing State Finals. Thanks again, and we look forward to seeing you here this weekend.